Welcome to the inaugural Kaspa Commons XSpace. We're pretty excited. This is Rhubarbarian or Chad. You can either use the 5-syllable word or 1 syllable. Most people do call me Chad. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure others will. This is being recorded, so we'll put it up later. And I just wanted to welcome our co-hosts, guests for today. By the way, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're from. I think it's an evening for our friends from Kaskad. So, Julian or Jack, you want to just say hi, introduce yourself initially, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Sure, I can start. Hey, Chad, hey everyone. Super glad to be here. Really love what you are doing with Kaspa Commons. Just a little information. We are connected with the Kaskad account, but it's just for more visibility to the space. But we are connected with our own personal accounts. And as for me, I'm operating as CEO for Kaskad. And this is a project that has been brewing for quite a while, I would say now, early 2025. And we are happy to share more insight into what we've been building, where we are headed, and why we are doing what we are doing, basically. So yeah, happy to participate in this session, and happy to answer any question you guys have.
Great, thanks, Jack. How about Julian? Can you say a few words?
It's like you want I give a little bit an introduction about me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So hello everyone. Thank you to connect to this XSpace, and thank you, Chad, to organize it because it's a bit emotional. We have so much good time together a few months ago to help Kaspa on a booth in different countries. So it's nice to be with you and Jack. My name is Julien. I'm an entrepreneur. I built 1011. 1011.com is a company we specialize in technology. We provide some data collecting, visualization, and analysis for big company in France and from some company in Switzerland. And my relation with Kaspa begins a long time ago. I think in 2023 or 2022. I don't remember exactly the date. But I begin to help Kaspa for communication with you, Chad, when we need to help people to understand what is Kaspa and how it changed a lot of things in the crypto industry. We did a lot of events together, and when there is Inaugural Labs who say that it will be possible to have smart contracts, I begin to think, okay, now it will be time to build because we can build because smart contracts are going on Kaspa, and I try with all the Kaskad team to find the way to build the best DeFi as possible in Kaspa.
That's great. Yes, and hugs back to you and your team. But yeah, we've had some good times together around the world. And so I want to start off briefly with something that I'm kind of impressed with. I mean, I'm a brander, a namer, brander, marketer. So just before we dive into the technicalities and hopefully some of the benefits, but I was really impressed with your name, Kaskad. If anyone looks it up in the dictionary, it's the phonetic spelling of cascade, cascade, and the definitions fit so brilliantly with the Kaspa brand and the Kaspa technology. So just to briefly share that the cascade is a process where something, typically information or knowledge, is successfully passed on. So it's like brilliant. You guys nailed it.
And to be honest about the name, I remember with Jack and Marius when we began to search a good name for this DeFi project, and we searched a relation with podcast too, because we would like to
Yeah.
be linked with the ecosystem. But Chad, when you send to us a vision of a Kaskad at the block DAG in real time, that everyone sees this kind of wave of block DAG on 10 blocks per second who evolves, and you say, "Yo, it's well linked with Kaskad." I laughed and I was like, "Oh yeah, we didn't think about it, but yeah, it worked too."
Brilliant. So anyway, just a nod to you guys. You're doing a great job for naming and branding and marketing, and so let's dive in. And as you know, everyone knows, Kaspa Commons started May 5th of this year, and our goal is to bring the technology closer to home. We want it to be spoken and people to learn it from a common point of view, and the idea is to contextualize the technology, and instead of talking so much about the technical or some of these higher level things, we wanted to really focus on the benefits. So not so much on features. We all love to talk about the features of Kaspa, but to share benefits. And so this is kind of this XSpace and ongoing interviews that we do will be not only to promote the technology and the companies and the products and the ecosystem, but to try and share it from a benefits point of view, not just the features. We do want to hear about the features, but we're really interested in what this means to us, to miners, to enterprise markets, to to companies. So why don't either one of you? Why don't you share a kind of at a high level? Who are the main users of the product, and what are some of the benefits to them, and then to the greater Kaspa ecosystem?
Yeah, I can talk about the context and the Kaspa ecosystem if you want, because it's important to have the big picture. And after, Jack can dive for the user and how the user can use the platform if it's okay for everyone. Okay, I see you agree. Yeah, the context about Kaspa. There is a phase one that Kaspa go to 1 block per second. It was just a begin, and Kaspa go to 10 block per second. For this big evolution, we couldn't build something without be extremely scientific with the core team, and it was hard to bring technology because Kaspa has to have this priority to go to 10 block per second, and we clearly understand. There is no smart contract, so it was impossible at the beginning to add something more than just Kaspa was doing, and Kaspa was doing exceptional things, but it was impossible. During this phase, we can just help with what? With communication and with the miner, because miner was really important. And with all the Kaspa team, we look about how to mine Kaspa. We mine Kaspa. We try to develop services about mining with some of people on the Kaskad team, because we could help Kaspa in this way. And two, we help in communication. You know, it's a chat because you travel some part of the world with me to have 10 hours, stand up on a booth to talk about Kaspa for as a volunteer. We weren't paid to do it. It was just volunteer to help Kaspa because we believe in it. Now it's a second phase. We Kaspa ecosystem say, okay, now we can have smart contract. It means we can bring new services in Kaspa. And when this moment arrive, we ask the question, how is it for the other chain? What it works in the other chain. If you look, for example, Ethereum, Solana, or BNB chain, that it's three principal chains. What makes the success of this chain? It's because they succeed to absorb some liquidity. They succeed um, um, to seduce user to come on the chain and use the chain. And why people use Solana, BNB, or Ethereum is because there is other services on it. It's not just because it's Solana or because it's BNB. And if we think about services, some services works very well and help people. It's all the decentralized finance in this ecosystem. Ethereum, there is AVE, for example, Curve or other services. In Solana, there is Jupiter, who works well. In BNB, there is PancakeSwap for some people, I'm sure, who try to use it in the last cycle. And these kind of services are really important to, not for the chain, because Kaspa is amazing technology. Kaspa, the promises of Kaspa doesn't need all these services, but the design of Kaspa, it's perfect to bring finance, to help people to use finance. And this kind of services can help people to give liquidity on the chain. And to have a good development, we need to have the liquidity. If we want, even for the price, you want to see the price growing, if you want to see the chain living, we need to absorb liquidity. And I think decentralized finance, it's a big opportunity. And when we saw smart contract arrived, I try with Jack and Elliot and everyone to say, okay, how we can build the best team that it's possible to build a DeFi project, and how to give that to people. It's for this reason I think a platform as Kaskad will help and can help Kaspa to attract new user, for sure user of Kaspa chain, it's sure, of Kaspa network, but to attract other users. Why other users will want to use Kaspa if it just at the moment for speculation? They would just buy Kas to speculate. They can't do other things. But if we bring services, they can do other things, and maybe they will begin to look at Kaspa and come to use the chain. I think it's as everyone wants, comes to that other users came to use the network.
Brilliant. Yeah, so that's so key. The Kaspa was a brilliant currency when it started. Obviously, it works. It's fast. It's secure. It's decentralized. But the other side of the coin is the utility and the technology. And ever since Crescendo, I think we've seen just an acceleration in ecosystem growth and people building utility products. And this is one. So maybe the question is, why did you choose the lending, borrowing angle? And in describing that, maybe Jacques can go into some of the features and benefits.
Yeah, Jack, you can go if you want.
Yeah, if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more clear.
So I guess the main focus that we were having with building this platform was, how can we build a platform that can reduce the odds of selling Kaspa? You know, your Kaspa that's sitting into your wallet today. What can we do with the tools that we have now that could help reduce these odds of having people being tempted to sell their Kaspa, move on to other opportunities, test other DeFi platform. And I think, just like Julien said, I think one of our goals was to think beyond the narrow Kaspa ecosystem and see how we could attract people existing from other chains to have a look into what we are building in Kaspa. And just like the Kaspa core is thinking beyond what exists today and how we can push Kaspa as a technology, I think our goal as builders here with Kaskad was how we could push the system of a DeFi platform to reach beyond the existing Kaspa ecosystem and to become this DeFi project that is thin, competitive, compelling, appealing to people design-wise and also brand-wise, because for us, it's important to be able to seduce people who are used to a certain standard and convince them that it's worth a shot trying this new platform in Kaspa. And we think that lending is one of the cornerstone of the liquidity on any chain. And you need a good lending, you need a good flagship platform to bootstrap this. So I think you could see platforms such as Kaskad or other competitors, because we have competitors and it's good that we have them. I think you could see us as a first step, a first pass to convince people to come play with their Kaspa instead of selling them, and therefore create a real form of TVL on the ecosystem that can then be used on the new layer 1 VPROX technology that is being built and that we are absolutely willing to develop on when it's ready. But I think we felt that we needed to push for this kind of utility now because we had the means to do so with the smart contracts that we have now.
That's great. Can you just describe some of the main features of Kaskad from the supply, borrow, vote, some of those things?
Yeah, so we have detailed a bit of the features that we have applied to the platform, but mainly on the Kaskad platform, you're going to be able to supply your Kaspa and earn some yield on top of it that is going to be paid by the borrowers. So they pay interest to you, and you as a supplier, you receive this interest in terms of APY. You can also, of course, borrow against your position using your own position as a collateral, and you have underlying risk, of course, associated to this behavior. So you are not forced on Kaskad to borrow against your position. You can just come and supply. But if you want to have access to more liquidity for your assets, you can borrow against your collateral. So that's the second feature. The third feature, and this is why we introduced the Kaskad token, was how can we provide the means to incentivize the supplying and borrowing behavior in a way that people find it competitive when looking at Aave, for example. How can we convince someone from Aave to come to Kaspa and do the same thing? And basically, and I'm sorry, there is a bit of noise behind me. After observing and studying all the successful protocols that we've seen, we figured that shaping a good native token into this tokenomic was a way to attract sustainable liquidity on the platform in the way that you can incentivize such behaviors, you can reward them, but you can also use the behavior of providing liquidity on chain as a way to govern how the resources of the platform are going to be used and recycled towards some objectives that you feel are beneficial for the Kaspa ecosystem. So, for example, we have a system where if you provide a certain amount of supply and you provide this position for a certain amount of time, you are going to be rewarded with some incentive in Kaskad token. But we are also going to allow you to govern how the fees that are generated on the platform can be recycled to the Kaspa Dev Fund wallet, for example, how you can also add some extra rewards to on-chain participants to attract more suppliers to the platform, because we need to be a platform that is attractive in terms of liquidity. So a native token is often a great way to sustain the main objective that you have, your North Star metric, I would say, which is how can I increase the TVL on the chain? Because if I can do that, it means I'm more likely to attract more users into buying some Kaspa, bridging them to IGRA in our case, and then borrowing against them. So this way you reduce the risk of people selling Kaspa for stable coins because they can just borrow against it. And this works also for miners, by the way. Since, like Julien said, we have an industrial miner in the team, and we can really certainly envision a system where our miners can be incentivized in not selling their block rewards, but instead borrow against them. And this will also reduce selling pressure. So you can play with a lot of parameters, and you can do a lot of beneficial things with a lending platform because you have access to a good liquidity inflow and outflow. And it all comes down to how you can maneuver all these liquidity routes. And I think we've made a good case for this, and I think I'm going to invite everyone after this AMA to have a look at the tokenomic page that we created, because we've created a good tutorial to let people understand how it works.
That's great. And for those that don't, we use a lot of acronyms here. Do you want to just quickly explain total value locked TVL?
Yeah, sorry. So the moment you provide some assets on the Kaskad protocol or any DeFi platform for that regard, you are going to send your assets to a smart contract So the smart contract has custody of your assets. It's not us as a team who have access to your assets. It's not you, because you give access to your assets to the smart contract. But once you do that, the protocol then has a certain amount in value of your assets. And if you consider that everyone is doing that, well, this value accrues, right? And you can count and add all the assets that people are adding on the smart contract as supplies, and you can count them as total supply added to the protocol. And then if people borrow against it, you can also count all those assets borrowed as total borrowed value. And you mix the two, and you have the overall total value locked on your platform.
Great. So we know the technology is great, and as the development has progressed, it's obvious that there is a utility that can be plugged into, and we've seen lots of energy around using that technology. What specifically about Kaspa tech makes it possible for applications like Kaskad? What are some of the, I mean, in simple terms, if you can, what are some of the key elements of the Kaspa technology that allow you to succeed?
I think in terms of business, Kaspa technology is really good to attract people, but people have to dare to use it. They have to jump and try Kaspa technology. At the beginning, we always said, okay, just try to send one Kas to Kaspa wallet native to another Kaspa wallet native and see how it's fast. It was the first case we have, and we would like to show to people, and it works. A lot of time when you try, you are very impressed by, oh, this happens so quickly, and it's secure as Bitcoin, and is and is faster than Solana or BNB. So it's this kind of technology is perfect to now say to people, okay, if you want to use finance, maybe this ecosystem can reassure you to bring not little amounts of money, but a big amount of money. Because when you want to go big in decentralized finance, you want to go on a network that provides security that you can trust, because it's difficult if there is doubt on a network to go and to give a lot of amount of money in this network. When we think about Kaskad on the Kaspa technology, we know that when we will have the smart contract and the stable coin, the issue will not be to convince the people who use Kaspa. We will compete against ETH, we will compete against Solana, we will compete against BNB. And why people will come in this kind of platform? Why they want to go in Kaspa and in Kaskad? In Kaspa, about how the network is designed, how the layer one is secure and fast and decentralized, that it's a big promise, and I think it's perfect. And why they would like to go on services as Kaskad? Because we have a competitive yield and a competitive mechanism of tokenomics that can seduce people. I will give you an example. Maybe some people say the same thing as me. You did the same thing as me. For example, Jupiter is a platform on Solana. They give extra bonus. It begins the last month with their own token, and it attracts a lot of liquidity. Why? Because people can say, oh, if I use my USDC or USDT on Jupiter in order to use it on Morpho on ETH, I can have a better yield, and they come. And why it's interesting to do that? Because when people try Jupiter and Solana, they say, wow, but at the end it's fast and cheaper than ETH, and I feel good. And even when the yield is managed by the platform and drop a little bit, people will stay sometimes because they love the platform, they love the network. And I think we have this big opportunity with Kaspa because I'm sure people will love the network. I'm sure 100% that they will prefer to be in Kaspa than in Solana, BNB, or ETH for all the reasons we know about Kaspa. And after, it's our job to make it comfortable on the Kaskad platform and to have a good design and a good tokenomics that people can say, okay, I use this platform to have yield or to land or to supply in this platform, and I feel comfortable. I don't want to move. And what is good with that is like the liquidity stay in the network, and it's the goal of Kaspa is to absorb liquidity and absorb the money.
Perfect. Yeah, and I also realize that in these kinds of technologies and applications, security, fairness, decentralization is so key. Like we can understand sending CAS from one wallet to the other, but when we're talking about lending and borrowing, we know there's the contract side of it. And so, what are some things that you guys are doing, and I guess in particular talking about oracles, to help people feel safe and they understand that there's a decentralized fairness to the operations?
I think it all comes down to how we can educate the existing communities on Kaspa on DeFi, because it's super important. So we are making the extra effort to detail the tokenomic, provide tutorials, mini quests, so they can try it, understand it, project. But I think it's also super important not only to provide the decentralized environment for doing decentralized finance, but also to provide a compliant platform. Because if you want to attract key players from the DeFi environment, it's going to be hard for you if you don't have the full compliancy tools and means to attract more people on your platform, because they are looking into this. They are looking into, is this platform legit? Should I risk it? Because it's already a risk for me in my mind to move from one chain to another. But then is there another risk in moving from one compliant platform to another non-compliant platform? So this part is actually maybe the most boring part for all the builders, but maybe the most important one. And this is why we took the time to, make sure that we could incorporate the token company properly. We also communicated transparently about it. And we are also, looking to make sure that the token in the Kaskad platform is going to have a legal opinion and be classified as a utility token. And why this is important? Because if we have this legal opinion to use our token as a utility token, then it means that we have all the rights to apply on-chain governance in a legal framework for Kaspa. And I think on-chain governance on Kaspa is something that needs to be experimented as soon as possible, because right now we are still using and relying on Discord votes for most of the decisions. And although it's super accessible and super practical, sometimes one could argue that it's hard to be sure that people are really participating the way they would like to. And I think bringing a legal framework on how to govern liquidity resourcing on a lending platform such as Kaskad is actually going to be a super interesting tool for people to play with. So we are also working on those angles to, make a case for a good platform where you can actually do something fully regulated, decentralized, but also you can voice your concerns, you can voice your intents, and you can try to orient the outcomes that you would like to see with the resources of the platform that are generated.
Thanks, Jack. We'll probably head into some questions soon. So if anybody wants to raise their hand, we'll move to that in a little bit. Either one of you guys, do you want to offer some shout outs or talking about some of your partners and other people that are on the team? Just share the breadth of your team and experience related to who's on the team and then the partners that you're associating with.
Yeah, maybe just a few words about Oracle and people who works in this part in our team, because sometimes it's not so easy to understand the link between lending platform and Oracle, or decentralized finance and an Oracle. But I think the best way is to give the example of the last 10 October. If everyone remember, it was not so far, and the price of CAS coin dropped to 1 cent because there is because it was the price for the major oracle at the end. And if you borrow some USD against your Kaspa for against your CAS, for example, you have a lot of chance to be liquidated. And some people who made leverage, for example, on a trading, could be liquidated easily because the price dropped insanely. And the question is, does it was a real price of CAS at this moment to be 1 cent? It is real, or it was something that it's not fair, so it was something that it's unfair? And this question, it's good to understand the role of the oracle, because when this kind of things happens, how can you be sure that the price of something is the real price? How can you be sure the platform is not playing on you, and at the end you lose some position because the platform gives to you a price that is not real? And it's for this reason we realize there is a lot of problem in Oracle since time before this event, but this event of the last 10 October confirms that the need, if you want to build a good landing platform, you have to be you have to be a good oracle, and an independent and decentralized oracle, because the oracle we are building is not something that can be controlled by Kaskad. It's a decentralized one, and Elliot is working on it with Paul and other members of the team. And it's something very important that we link to the project, because we would like to explain that Kaskad is a long-term project. We see that the first framework will be the lending and borrowing platform, but we know that Oracle are important, and if we want to play this game long-term as big platform on the other network I talked about before, we have to trust an independent Oracle and something that we can understand. It's for this reason it's a big part, and it's a part of our research and development and on our protocol, and it's a part of the team.
Yeah, and I think as for the shootouts, I think we have many shootouts to make, and I think Julien, you agree that in Kaskad we have no enemies, right? We like building for Kaspa, and we recognize everyone's efforts to build the best Kaspa ecosystem there is. So of course we've been collaborating with Labs because we think they are an amazing team, and they are providing a super solid decentralized solution for Kaspa on layer 2 on base rollups. And we can't wait to also release our own testnet platform on the testnets. But we are also here because of people like you, Chad, because of Kaspa Commons, because of Kaspa and Chain, or whatever the name was at the time. I can't remember, honestly. We are also here because of miners, because we really reinforced our trust and belief in Kaspa with Julien once we started mining, home mining, and then ASIC mining. So if it was not for the miners, we wouldn't be pushing a lending platform on Kaspa today. So I guess all the interactions that we've had in the past since 3 years ago have shaped our conviction into building such a platform now, because we feel that we need to do something today if we want to support Kaspa in the future. I don't know if this makes sense for you guys, but we feel that if we can do something today that can maybe convince more people into using Kaspa, then we are going to do it. And I guess this is why we are here today.
Julien, do you want to add to anything?
I think you talk about the team, and just I can highlight some mix that we try to have research and development, because with a technology company I built, I know how it's important to always have research and development. Companies who succeed to survive always are always doing research and development, and I think it's in the NDA of Kaspa. It's a research project from the basement. It's for this reason we are really happy to have Elliot, to have Remy, to have Paul, who helps this part. After, we have a lot of builders and makers, like coder, as Pierrick, as Julia, as Anton, that join the team to code the platform. We have Marius, who design every communication that you see on the Kaskad account, every interface, every logo, even the choice of color. It will be Marius who did it, and we know how the design and the interface is important. If I take the example of the BNB chain and PancakeSwap, is the DeFi protocol. They have a specific design. We like it or not, but it's very simple to use, and I think it was a part of their success. It's because they succeed to have a fun and an attractive and funny interface that work for their audience. And after, we ask Quentin, who helped him to for the industrial part and the mining part, but to find the good partner, because he succeed to have a lot of good relation with the ecosystem. And Jack and me, we try to help for communication and to give the direction of the project to be good. So it just you can find all the team on kaskad.app/about. And for us, it's something important to be doxed, because it's the same for the Kaspa core team. Most are docs, and I think it helps a lot to have the trust in Kaspa, and it push on the shoulder of people the responsibility of what they are doing, because they put their face and their name on the projects. So I think for us it's important, and it was the same things for Igro Labs when we have to choose, because we know the people, we met them, we know their face, we know who they are. It helps to make this choice. It helps a lot, even if the tech can only seduce us because the tech is amazing, but to be doxed is something important for us.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons why I asked you guys to send me a photo of you preparing for the XSpaces, because we often hear each other or just see our avatars. So I think it's important, and part of the Kaspa Commons MO is to bring some humanity to the technology. So I completely agree, and it's great that you guys have headed in that direction. Just a question about, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but can you talk about the Dynamics simulator, the platform?
Yeah, I can jump on this if you want, Julien.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So the idea behind this dynamic simulator, and you can have a look at it on our website. The idea is, once you've understood how we are trying to incentivize liquidity provision, then you can understand that a platform like Kaskad or any other successful lending platform is actually a legit business generating some fees, because you provide a service for suppliers and borrowers. They pay themselves, but you take a slight spread in the fees that people are paying themselves. So you get this spread, and the protocol can then generate some revenue, and this revenue you can decide on how to allocate it, and you can let the voters decide it. And this is how we have shaped the Kaskad platform. It means that if you go on this simulator, you can you can project how much fees depending on how much TVL the platform Kaskad is going to have, how much of those fees are going to be under the management of the governance, the voters, and how they can reallocate them towards certain objectives that they feel could help the platform grow, Kaspa grow as a chain, the ecosystem grow. So we made this tool and we had a lot of fun with Marius in doing so, because we felt it was important for people to understand that with Kaskad, we are building a business, and building businesses on Kaspa is actually a good thing. I think you want people to build businesses on Kaspa. Otherwise, it would just mean that people have lost interest in the chain, which is never a good sign. So we want people to be incentivized in building businesses. And also, when you build a business on a chain, it means you are more likely to sustain the challenge of time, because you are actually profitable, you are servicing people, you are making revenue. And in our case, we are reallocating most of this revenue in the end of the voters. And this is why we made this simulator, because you can play with it. You can project how much revenue you will be eventually capable of managing as a voter. And we felt it was a good, educational tool to let people understand, okay, so this service is actually useful and we can actually maneuver how we can reallocate the fees.
Yeah, it was a goal to be very pedagogic on what we are doing, because it's not sometimes simple to understand when you start in decentralized finance, even in finance. And all the things, it can be the simulator, it can be the fundraising, the tokenomics. You can have step-by-step explanation at how it works, why we design it like it, and why it's good for the project to be like it, because we want to give to all the people the maximum of information about the platform. We know that there is for sure too the need to show our technology, so it will come soon. And thank you for your passion, because a lot of people wants to see the platform, and it's normal. And another thing that there is on the simulator, a kind of a kind of a simulation of what could be the price of Kaskad token if we evolve well in the top 100, top 200, or top 50 platform, DeFi platform in the world. So you can see it, and we know that it's little bit to talk about price and token is little bit. It can be like very tricky, and we don't talk about the price and why, but we think too that because we are in fundraising, people invest, and when you invest, you want to have projection about what can be the return, to trust our team, to believe in this platform and to invest in it. So it's for that too. You will find this part on the simulator, but it's sure we make this effort for every part of the protocol, and not only just the token and the price of the potential price of our token.
Could you expand a little bit on the campaign? Why you did it? What the benefits? You talked briefly about it here, but just kind of convince us what the need for the campaign and how it will benefit the users and the product down the road.
Yeah, Jack, you wanna I go about it, or you wanna go?
Yeah, you can go as you wish.
Yeah, it's just the benefits. If I want to talk about the benefit of the Kaskad token, is like, first we start as if you follow the campaign, we start at 6 million of market cap. So if you compare this market cap of our decentralized finance protocol, and if you believe that we can enter in a top 500 protocol, even top 300 or top 200, that it's not a big TVL, the gap is enormous. That the price of the Kaskad token you can have during the fundraising at 6 million of market cap, and the price it can be if the platform just go well. Don't talk about to be on the top 20. Maybe we will do it, but just to go well, it can be interesting for people who invest in the token.
Great, thanks, Julian. We're going to open it up to some speakers. I see Elliot is on. Do you want to share a little bit?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Hello, Elliot.
wanted to clarify just some little thing that I've been seeing quite a bit recently on the token, because I am aware a lot of people kind of see it as something scammy or something that drains liquidity off of Kaspa, but I think it's much more complex than that. One of my good friends from ETH is doing the math behind the tokenomics and studying Aave white papers and even more in depth of academic papers on this, and the fact that a lot of people think that the same incentives can be proposed using Kaspa as the token or asset instead of a native token is not so clear cut. I asked my friend if he could find a result on are there incentives that you can prove are possible with Kaspa, and in which case you wouldn't need a native token. And his answer to me was more that even Aave never did any proof of why a token is necessary. I don't claim it's 100% sure that it's perfectly necessary, but what I'm saying is if you want a certain type of incentive and if you want some people to use your platform in a certain way, maybe it's actually impossible to do that with Kaspa. That's my intuition, because Kaspa has so many other things going for it that, for example, you can't mint new Kaspa, you can't control the supply,
Exactly.
and when using a native asset, you can do all of these new things, and that allows you to do much more. So it's not just so clear cut of, oh, they're launching a token and this shit sucks. I think it's community should be a bit more curious instead of so close minded on this. That's
Yeah,
it.
there is another aspect that we didn't talk about is a token is too a tool of communication for every project, every platform. That the fact that they have a token, like Aave, they have a token, Curve, they have a token, PancakeSwap, they have a token, Jupiter, they have a token. Like you can go on every big 20 DeFi platform, they have a token. Yeah, maybe sometimes it's not perfect, but it provides yield. It helps people to speculate too, and people love it. It can help people to incentivize at the beginning of the project the investor, and two, it can be a tool of communication, because when you have a token, people talk about your token go on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. All this can be listing, and it helps the platform to have vision. I don't say it's a perfect communication, and as you say, Elliot, there is a lot of things to look about a token, and I think it's for that you have. I think a lot of information on Kaskad app is not like a dark token that we don't explain how it will work, and it will have a full white paper about our token. But there is a lot of good strategy to use a token to help an ecosystem and to help a platform to grow.
That's great. Thanks for that clarification, Elliot, as well. Julian, I think that was what I was kind of getting at. Some people jump to conclusions, and I think it's great that you can express how legit this is and the benefits of it across the board. So thank you. Anything else, guys, you want to share? I'll open up to some of the listeners' requests.
Just wanted to add that the role of the campaign was to help us kickstart this phase of this last phase of development, and our idea was to open this phase to the community, because we are doing this for Kaspa, and Kaspa is a community project at the end of the day. So we did not see ourselves, launching such a platform privately without offering the opportunity to people interested in such a product to be part of this adventure. And this is why we pushed it like this. We pushed it as a campaign because basically we need to fund this last phase of development, and we need a certain amount of money that is detailed in the tokenomic page, in the fundraising page, sorry. And we explain why we need this amount and how it's going to be used. So everything is transparent. And I think we just need to, remind people to maybe have a look, stay open-minded, and try to interact with us, ask us questions, because this is the best way to approach and understand and grow knowledge about projects. It's when people interact with each other instead of camping themselves into their own vision. We are all for discussing and argumenting with people. There is no problem for that on our side. So yeah, just have a look and let's keep the conversation going, because in the meantime we will have some product reveals as the campaign continues. So it's not a fixed campaign. We plan on revealing a lot of stuff along the way.
Great, thanks. We'll just have a couple requests for questions. So let's go to the Kaspa Linus.
Okay, so I have a question that is with an explanation, so hear me out. So you mentioned about lending and borrowing, right? So there is, I don't know if you're aware, but not just in America, but in a lot of places, there's the crisis of student loans. And I was wondering if, first of all, if it can solve the student loan problem, but I also have a suggestion of how to test that if you guys are interested. There's this online, almost tuition-free university called University of the People. You should check it out. It'll blow your minds. And it's basically this genius guy named Shai Reshef. He created it a few years ago. And it's basically a bunch of high-level university professors from like universities like NYU, Harvard, Oxford, all those kind of things, educating people all over the world for hardly any money at all. So I think that if you guys want to test if it could solve lending and borrowing for student loans, it would be ideal maybe to reach out to Shai Reshef to look at the website called University of the People that he created to help, and it's an American accredited university. It's accredited, very well accredited in several countries. And take a look at that. See if there's a way to make some kind of a partnership to see if it can, if it's even a possibility. Because there's always that trust factor as well. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think thank you for your question. About the problem of the credit and the loan for student or for people globally. You need to know that in Kaskad the protocol of the credit will be a Lombard credit. It means you have to provide some collateral to have a loan and to be able to use, for example, stable coin, just giving collateral as a certain amount of percent to secure your loan. It's a specific it's a specific contract. You can look at Lombard credit if you want to deep in it. If you begin and you want to deeply understand it, because it's different as a bank credit. Because with my company we worked in a banking credit score. And I know how it works. It's different. It's like you will have a lot of information about someone, and you will have to create a score about this information to help you to decide if you can trust this person. And sometimes these scores are very unconfidential and ask a lot of things about you. And it's totally different in decentralized finance. The notion of credit will be linked with the notion of collateral you can provide. So you need to have a little bit amount of money. It's a little bit different that in a standard credits. I don't know if I'm clear, but I think it can help you to in your question. And I didn't know University of the People, but yeah, I will clearly look. Thank you.
Yeah, you should definitely look into it because, like, for example, if you did, let's say, a collaboration with the university itself, who will decide which students would be eligible, for example, or to see if there's a collateral situation that can, make an agreement with the university rather with the people, and they would sort it out. That can, I mean, maybe that could be a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I will look about it, and don't hesitate to send me more information in my Twitter in message. It's open.
Great. Thanks for the question. Juan, you're up.
Hey Chad, thanks for having me up. Hi Jack. Hey Julian. Thanks for running the space. I'm excited about what you guys are doing. Uh, yeah. Hey Jack, super cool. I met you. I don't think I got to meet Julian, but I got to meet Jack over in Berlin. So
Yeah, I
super cool that
remember
you guys
that.
are. Yeah, super cool that you guys are putting this together and putting the education out. So my question is in reference. So I recently. So, Julian, you mentioned the liquidation event on October the 10th, and I had collateralized some Bitcoin on Coinbase and experienced that quick drop off. And because I was unable to send my Coinbase quickly enough, I got liquidated a good amount of Bitcoin. This probably leads to Oracle, so I'm still trying to understand Oracles. And I don't know if Elliot is still up here because I know he's the one behind the project. But my question is in reference to that. What is in place, or is there even anything in place that would prevent something like that? So, for example, I got notifications on the liquidation when I got to a specific loan to value amount, but because it took for that day, it just took forever to send Bitcoin. And I thought about this: had I had some Kaspa, had it been a Kaspa backed loan, I would have been able to send the Kaspa super quick. Um, and I kind of did a little workaround where I did that a little bit later. So yeah, my question is in reference to that. Does what you guys are doing with oracles prevent um, something like that? Because I know obviously it was a market event that liquidated over 20 billion that day. So yeah, I'm just curious if there's anything in play like that, or if you guys are working towards anything like that.
Yeah, to prevent it, it's always a question of what is a fair price on something. Imagine you can be liquidated, I don't know what, 3 cents for a CAS, and our oracle said Kaspa is 3 cents. You will be liquidated. So it's not like we we can't. We can't prevent the fact that you can be liquidated, but we want to understand um, why is a fair price of something, and to explain to you if you are liquidated that it was a fair price at this moment about CAS. And to do it, Elliot can talk better about it, but we take more and more sources and more different information to cross this information and to tune it to be sure that if, I don't know, an exchange A said it's 3 cents, but all the other exchange say it's 4 cents, you will not be liquidated because our oracle will understand it. But if, for example, the exchange A is the main oracle for everyone, as it was in the 10 October, you will be liquidated as it's unfair. It's unfair because it was not the real price.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you for that.
Great, thanks. Good question. Anybody else for a question? I don't see any other requests. You guys covered a lot. It was great.
Yeah, the time maybe for the last question. If someone wants to ask something, don't hesitate. But if you want more information, our website is kaskad.app, kaskad.app, app. If you are curious and you want to know more, you can just visit this website, and you can look on the menu. You will have Kaskad token, and we explain everything, the fundraising, why we are doing fundraising, tokenomics, and the simulator. But you have all the page that provides information, and if we have question even after this XSpace, never hesitate to tag us in a post in X, and we will always be open to discuss. If you are for sure respectful, we will be always open to discuss with you. Even if you think what we are doing are good or wrong, don't hesitate to just discuss with us.
Great. We have Seb up.
Hey guys, Seb here. Good evening. At least here in Europe, good evening. I wanted to talk a little bit with you guys about you guys having your own token, because that is indeed something that people are discussing about. Not everybody's happy to have it. I myself, to be honest, I don't have any problem with it. But I think it's also good to have somebody like me who is positive to also raising his voice. So, it's not only people who don't want to see you guys have your own token. Because I have been thinking, I saw the discussion on X, and I was thinking, which, how can it be possible to do it in a way without a token of your own? Because in DeFi, it's a dog eat dog world, and you need to have the liquidity, you need to have the incentives, you need to have, you need to probably raise funds, and I think as long as the project is successful for long term, everybody will benefit. So I don't see it as a parasitic endeavor. I see it as a way you can build upon Kaspa and its ecosystem and enhance it. Because I really have a hard time to find any example. I think Uniswap started without a coin, but I think they were attacked and liquidity got drained, attacked by a competitor, I mean. I'm not sure, to be honest. I can't exactly remember. Maybe that somebody else knows it, but in the end, they ended up with having their own coin. So yeah, I don't think it's that easy to do it without a coin of your own. I think that's really the hard way. We also see it with Kaspa, that we are having we are taking the road that we should take, but it's harder because we don't have the billions or that other company projects have. So I just wanted to pitch in like this, and maybe somebody of you guys can respond to me, and I can respond to you again, just to have this discussion as well.
Yeah, you know what, Seb? I actually think that it's way more easy than you think to build a lending platform without a native token. Then the problem is your DeFi platform is going to be, competitive enough to even attract existing user from your native chain and other user from foreign chains. Because at the end of the day, if your only solution is to provide less yield or more fees to be paid from borrowers, you cannot rightfully expect people to be okay with paying more for less, right? So the problematic was this. The reflection that we had was, okay, let's first envision how we could build Kaskad without a native token. And at some point, we hit a wall because, hey, there's no way we can be competitive. Like, sure, it could work, people could borrow, but then nobody would actually do it because it's not incentivized properly, which means it will only, stay low for a time, and people will be, jumping from one opportunity to another. and they will never stay. We will never have, sustainable PVL. And our goal as builders on Kaspa is to make sure that Kaspa stays attractive for people. So we can have enough attention on Kaspa so the core can keep on building amazing stuff on Kaspa L1. So we can also then convert people who are used to certain, quality standards on Kaspa, thanks to builders, current builders, and say, hey, I might as well stay because I'm happy with what they've been building, and now they are building something that is even more exciting. So no way I'm going to leave, right? So this is how we approached it, and at some point, and this is the work we are doing with Remy, is we have the intuition that starting with a token can be a great way if built properly. But then the main challenge that we are tackling now is how can we prove that the best strategy on Kaskad is actually use the token as intended, meaning you provide liquidity, you receive the Kaskad token as a reward, extra reward, and then you can stake it, and then you can govern how the fees are going to be allocated. And we want to prove that actually using the token as intended is the best strategy. Meaning, if you were to try to play the system to extract more value by not playing the game, you will actually lose more. And this is how we approached the Kaskad protocol, basically. So this is why we took a bit of time to build the product. This is why we haven't revealed the testnet yet, because we are adding this extra incentive on the testnet product. So this is what we are going to reveal to the community, so they can then play safely on testnet and understand the logic behind and understand how providing on-chain liquidity on a DeFi platform on Kaspa can be rewarding, basically.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and even for the governance, if you provide a services and you want to have a decentralized governance and you don't have a token, how you can do the vote? Like if you just use CAS to vote, it's like the big whale, even if they don't use the services, can come and just vote and decide what is good for Kaskad, even if they don't care about the platform and don't use it. It's when there is a lot of different parts that a token can be useful.
You can tie governance, on-chain governance on supply and borrowed positions. This you can do. But then if you were to try to involve the Kaspa token in the governance, it would be super good, but hard for you as a protocol, because nobody controls Kaspa, right? So nobody actually has the right to classify Kaspa as a utility token. So it's hard to legally enforce the usage of Kaspa as a utility token, in the eyes of the regulator. And the idea of creating your own native token and making sure that it can be classified as a utility token and then use it as a means to do legal on-chain governance is quite an interesting approach, and this is the one we chose because for us we thought it was super important to let people actually decide how the platform needs to react, because it's all about how people can find consensus on Kaspa, and we think that finding on-chain consensus on Kaspa on top of mining, of course, is also super educative and super important for the community and for all the Kaspa users.
Yeah, I think if I can pitch in again, Jack, I think you were saying that before, that creating activity in the Kaspa ecosystem also attracts people, keeps people in this ecosystem. And with that, with that you are adding value to Kaspa as a coin and Kaspa ecosystem as a whole. So I see it as a win-win scenario. As long as you are doing it the right way, of course. But you guys, everything I see happening, and I also talked with you before, and also here again, I see you have the good intent. Of course, you are a startup, and there are no guarantees. But the intent is good. Is my judgment, at least. And yeah, I think it is a token can help you guys, and not only you, but also Kaspa in the end. So yeah,
you will have to bridge Kaspa to Hydra, and then you can use ICAS to supply and borrow, right? So this is actually providing a means to use Kaspa today on Hydra,
yeah.
which is super cool, if you ask me.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody is winning. So also Igra, you guys, Kaspa, and so I think it's important also to highlight that part of the story, because I think it's some sort of a fallacy that is going around, not by everybody, but by some, that it looks like any token that would be created by a corporation is hurtful to the main chain, but that's not the case in my opinion. I think it can really strengthen each other and strengthen the ecosystem. So I really wanted to also have this part of the discussion, so it's not just one-sided and that you guys have to defend yourself all the time, but there are more sides to a story. And this is, by the way, in general, how economies function, and how also money keeps its value in general, also throughout history, because it is being used. People, there is a need for it. There is a use case for it. And like Jack just explained, we need to get the Kaspa also to make use of the platform. So I think it only, or only, it's mainly it's a net positive for Kaspa and the whole ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point, Seb. Totally agree. I think when people see a token from only one angle, price, they have these opinions. But when you see it from all these other positive sides that the team has mentioned, investment, incentive, commitment, ownership, you can see how beneficial it is. So thanks for that. We had Tech Sam with his hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello guys. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, I have idea to share. So I am a blockchain developer specialized in crypto exchange platform. So I think why let other control your token features? Have you guys think about to build your own exchange platform? Hello?
Yeah, I think the question was if we thought about building our own exchange. Maybe you think about a module to swap token or global exchange. It's we have this kind of discussion sometimes with the tech team, because it can be a really good module to have on a DeFi platform. I take this example a few minutes ago about PancakeSwap, but if you look about PancakeSwap, they can provide some fees to their user, because they have swap decks that helps to swap and trade tokens. So yeah, it's an option, but it's not our main target. The target for the moment is to provide this first version of landing platform, and when we will succeed on it, maybe there is some option that we can open about this question of exchange.
Yeah. Because this will really help your project by keeping the price, scale the order, and who I can help you. I can help you guys out. I have helped many token like you. So this will really help your token.
Great. Thanks, Texam. You can always get in touch with the guys. Is any other
Yeah.
questions?
Chad, Elliot is back, so maybe he can take on Juan's question about his liquidation event.
Yeah, can you reiterate the question?
He's in listening mode, but I think his question was, he was recently liquidated on a BTC position during October 10th, and his question was how the oracle that we are working on, you are working on, could have prevented such an event. Could this oracle solution have prevented such an event? And how would this solution work, basically?
Okay, so basically, all the cascading liquidations is more a problem of Binance not using an oracle. If they had used an oracle, it would have prevented basically the majority of what happened. Now, what our oracle aims to prevent right now is not necessarily so. Yeah, if they used our oracle or even Chainlink or even any median like very basic oracle, it wouldn't have happened. Now, the advantage our oracle will have in a situation like this is that I talked with BitCat on Twitter, and he, given the volatility, there were a lot of oh my loud cars. There were a lot of price discrepancies between exchanges. So, in a matter of hours, by hand, he could buy on, for example, BitGet and sell for twice the price on Mexi. So there was a lot of arbitrage, and what kind of surprised me is that these arbitrage were not closed in a matter of seconds, and people could do it by hand. And what I dislike here is that there is much more risk of being liquidated on a certain platform, just due to the market being inefficient. So how our Oracle is going to innovate on this is more, as soon as it sees arbitrage opportunities, it's going to compensate it by itself. So we're going to have this sort of arbitrage bot that is coupled with the Oracle that says if the Oracle can see that the price on CoinX is much lower than it should be compared to Mexi, it's going to compensate this arbitrage by itself on high frequency trading in order to kind of get a uniform price of Kaspa across exchanges, in the sense that you don't want to be vulnerable to getting liquidated just because you're on a certain exchange instead of another. So that's how our Oracle is going to at least try to have a uniform price on Kaspa and make the market a bit more efficient, less volatile, and it won't prevent cascading liquidations from other Oracle failures, but it should prevent it if people start using our Oracle. Yes.
Great. Thanks, Elliot. Any last questions or comments from the Kaskad team?
I think we've covered quite a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So like Julien said, we are always there. We are always lurking on X, answering people's questions. So feel free to, get in touch. And it's all about people, right, Chad? You of all people have understood it. And I think it's time for builders to assemble a bit on Kaspa. It's been a rough year, to say the least, but I think we need builders more than ever, and I think we also must recognize that most of the builders are coming from the Ethereum, environments. I'm talking about developers here. So, using the tools that are provided today on layer 2 based rollups is an efficient way to attract more builders and prepare the solutions of tomorrow. And I think we need to understand that builders are important part of the Kaspa ecosystem. Researchers are an important part of the Kaspa ecosystem, and the community is also a key part of the ecosystem. And we need to try to communicate with each other more properly, I would say.
100%. So that's great. I think we'll end it here. And just want to thank you guys for being on. And we'll probably pick this up again in the future, do a check-in space. But overall, we're excited for your project. Where can we see you guys? Is there an event coming up that you'll be at, or is there any meetups?
Yes, thank you, Chad, to organize this XSpace. It was a pleasure to talk again with you. We will provide some all the information of the next step about Oracle, about the testnet of the platform, about everything on our X account or in our website. It's the only two sources for the moment that it's sure. If you want to follow us, we have another XSpace with Mexi France, who is organized the next Monday, not the tomorrow, but the next one. And we we think to organize some other events, but I can't say more for the moment because it depends of the tech delivery. So I can't say more, but we will provide more information soon.
That's great. Well, thanks everyone. We'll hopefully be doing more of these XSpaces. We have another one potentially in the hopper, so we'll let you know soon about that. But thanks so much to Kaskad and all your energy and the amazing project that you're putting together. We will be following. So thanks so much. And
thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon.
Bye.
Thank you.